Happened in the 90's.
Yeah. Dude, like I rag on Sandra Bullock a lot, or at least recently. Man, and I was like, dude, who is the male equivalent of Sandra Bullock? And that was a no-brainer for me. I don't know. I'm sure you might have your own, but for me, and I still don't understand how he still gets work, it's fucking Hugh Grant. He is boring as fuck, big tooth bastard. All his movies are just like flavorless oatmeal. Like the whole prostitution thing, that was the best thing that happened in his career. Because before that shit, I ain't know nothing about no fucking Hugh Grant at 11 years old. It's like, oh, that's the guy that, oh yeah, he did that. He's an actor. He's in movies. Oh yeah. So that Jay Leno shit, that was probably his peak. Yeah. Ever since then, it's just back to Hall. Oh, Hugh Grant. Oh, he's charming. He stutters and
excuse me. Hello. I feel like Hugh Grant sort of. There was a time, like I guess it was 90's, right? That he sort of got in before Guy Ritchie got in and made being like British cool. He was the old school British stereotype of like this foppy, scared, like timid Brit that was just like fish out of water. I remember specifically I went on a date or some group excursion and I had to watch a Hugh Grant movie called Mickey Blue Eyes where he marries into a mob family as a British man, but then has to like fake being an Italian. Like it's a whole shit show. But essentially, that's what this was. It was like, hey, what's a popular movie? Mob movie? Put this dumb Brit in it, and that's all he served his purpose for. And then he got caught with a hooker, which I mean, say whatever. I'm not surprised, but I thought that was hilarious. Jay Leno called him on it.
What the hell were you thinking?
He says like, oh, I love that.
Stayed home and had some Doritos. Here, have a bag.
But
thank you, jolly good fellow.
I'm with you with that. I can't really think of like a plain Jane. I'm trying to like maybe a James Marsden Cyclops. Cyclops from X-Men, that guy. He's just like I don't know. Like I guess exactly how I pulled that out of my ass. I don't know, but I don't like if you're not an action star, like if you're not Hugh Jackman or Jason Statham or something, if you're just one of those guys that's like smiling next to a beautiful woman in a movie or whatever, like a Steve Zahn type. No, I'm not even including Steve Zahn because I like Steve Zahn, but like
he deserves better.
Yeah, exactly. But like, if you're just like a second fiddle, like beautiful man in Hollywood, I feel like you fall into that category because you're just that guy. Okay, maybe I'm wrong about this because I don't watch a lot of his other movies. I just know he was in Twilight. That Pattinson dude. Maybe this will change when he becomes Batman because I know he is about to play a new Batman, but like everything I've ever seen, it's like I don't even care to watch. I'm good.
So far, there's Michael Keaton and Christian Bale. And like, hey man, if you want to get that third slot, because I don't know, Ben Affleck, I'm not sold. Val Kilmer, no. George Clooney, I fucks with you Clooney's, but nah, bro, this ain't your lane. So right now, I feel like that third slot is. Oh, you know what, Adam West. So you got to do something to get that third slot, man. And those three slots, pretty tough.
I'm like getting weary of new shit now. And like with Batman, we've seen it all. We know what we like. They keep redoing it. And this one, it's just kind of confusing now. They're trying to seem like do a dark take again. And I'm always interested in Batman movies, but I don't know. I'm kind of like ready for something new, I think. So I'm not even excited about it. If it's good, hey, prove me wrong. Because I didn't even want to like Christian Bale's Batman because I was so into Michael Keaton's Batman. I was like, fuck this shit. But it was undeniable. It was that good. So
credit to Christopher Nolan because he came with a different approach than Tim Burton did. Tim Burton, as we all know, he's known for his cinematography, his colorful cinematography, man. And so he kind of gave it that more of a comic book feel. And Christopher Nolan was like, yeah, we gonna go comic book, but we gonna go OG comic book.
I feel like what he did was just he darkened it again. Everybody kind of gotten used to like comic book movies being more like Marvel-ish, and he took it back to that, and he took it even darker. Because I mean, Tim Burton's Batman was dark, but it almost had like this over like these hints of comedy in it. Jack Nicholson, very over the top, and it was scary, but it was also very funny too.
Yeah, because that like his characters always have this wittiness to them. I mean, or just kind of quirky. If it's not the Joker or the Penguin, Edward Scissorhands. They
But he got them all right, dude. In Batman, you think of Catwoman, dude. Think of how badass his Catwoman was, and I don't think that no one's ever gonna beat that. Because now all they do is try to make Catwoman just kind of like she's a thief. In Tim Burton's, she was just a lunatic, crazy bitch that died and got brought back to life by cats licking her, and then she became like. It was just a comic book style. He was very much like making a comic book movie. And now they try to make it more real, I feel, in DC, like at least with Christopher Nolan, where it's not that. So he did it. Pattinson, you're my Sandra Bullock right now. Sorry, bub.
Wow. That's I wasn't expecting that, man. And something else about these handsome leading men in these kind of movies. Like, I think for me, the saving grace is when they start doing comedy. Like, okay. I would have thought John Hamm was that guy. Oh, you're fucking handsome booty chin motherfucker. Then he started hosting the SNL. It's like, okay, he's got a sense of humor. That saves you.
Yeah, hell yeah. I like it both ways because sometimes a comedian will go like action. You see like Krasinski now from The Office being in like a quiet place and like sort of branching out. There's some people like that that's why I respect Clooney so much, because Clooney can do funny. He's
done it all.
Drama. He can direct the motherfucker of a movie. He's a good director. And I mean, say what you want about his career, but if you watch Dusk Till Dawn and you don't think Clooney himself is a legit badass in that movie, then I can't be friends with you.
Well, he showed comedy in that. And then what's the one with J-Lo and Don Cheadle? There's this one scene with Don Cheadle.
Yeah, hell yeah, that movie's dope.
Do you know what scene I'm talking about? I can't. It's just Don Cheadle and Clooney, and it's a serious conversation, but it's man, I would have to watch it again. I'm sure it's available on one of these things.
Great. I always like to bring this up because this is one of the few times Hollywood got it right back in the day. Michael Keaton plays a cop in Out of Sight, and it's actually the same cop that he plays in Jackie Brown, because those movies were both written. The novels were written by that guy who wrote I forget his name now, Elmore Leonard. So
wow,
they actually got the rights somehow. Quentin Tarantino and whoever was in like the making Out of Sight got the rights, and they agreed to let this character go to a different movie studio and play the same exact character in that movie. I don't even know why. I just think that's super fucking cool. He played the same character in Jackie Brown and Out of Sight. So nice. That's dope. Little sidetrack Sally for you.
Sidetrack Sally. I mean, including Michael Keaton. I mean, you can't go wrong, man. Some Pam Grier.
Oh my god! If
some
we
Samuel
we
L.
gotta do like a fucking Jackie Brown episode, Steve. I don't know how we'll like paint it, but we need to like bring attention to this movie and ensure that everyone knows that's one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, most definitely. And personally, I have you to thank for that because you introduced me to that movie in Bromfield, 205, bruh. That little
I had the tape
collection of videotapes you had on that shitty ass built-in wooden shelves that we had. I remember that
VHS, bro.
I remember when you put it on, I was like, man, fuck this. I don't want to watch some movie about some old ass bitch. I don't want to watch this. And you put it on, and as soon as that as soon as that song comes on, I was like, damn, what, dude, it's so fucking good. And then personally, me, when I moved to where I used to live in the South Bay here, I moved to where that movie's set.
Right. Yeah.
I moved right by the Del Amo Mall, dude. We used to go there all the time. It's way different now, but I was like, this is the motherfucking mall right here. Max took that fucking money out of this Macy's right here.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you look at Matt's background, a gentleman by the name of Beaumont used to reside there. But here's the thing, man. And I never got over this. Why does Samuel L. Jackson say Beaumont got his brains out? That rhyme. No, the fuck it doesn't.
I know, dude. That does not rhyme, Sam.
I remember watching that in the theater.
Got his brains blown out. That rhyme. Max Cherry's like, no, it does not, sir.
Yeah. Even when I was in the theater watching that at 14, it just like, wait, I mean, maybe is it a alliteration?
I mean, I think it was just like getting that iambic pentameter going, that old school fucking Shakespearean shit.
Yeah.
I honestly though, I get goosebumps when I watch it, and I don't even know why, but when Samuel L. Jackson convinces Chris Tucker to get in the trunk, right? He shuts the door, goes in, he puts on those weird ass leather driving gloves, and then puts that song on and drive, dude. That shit, I don't know why, some scene I think it's the music.
Bobby Womack, baby.
What it was like when I watch Tarantino movie, the good ones, when he gets that music, mixing with the visuals and that way, just in Jackie Brown, it happens so much.
A lot of 70s soul, man. Across 110th Street.
I got laid so much to that soundtrack, Steve. You put on Strawberry 23, dude. Any Delphonic song, if you got that in the background, you're just trying to fucking smash. It's gonna happen.
But dude, Bobby Womack, also from Ohio, he's a Clevelandite, man. And when you first watched that movie, you weren't sold already on Tarantino. You were kind of like, eh.
I was into him in that, we'd all seen fucking Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs, and I like those movies, but they were long-winded at times, and I wasn't completely sold. After I saw Jackie Brown and I became more into film in general, I got more into that movie. And I'm not going to shade talk any Tarantino movies, but those ones specifically, once I saw Jackie Brown, I was sold. Because to me, it's the perfect movie. It's his vibe. It's all like every character in it, it knocks it out of the park. It could be the lowest low character. I mean, fucking Debo's in it. And he's even funny in it. You remember him for Rest in Peace. So it's just like
Winston. Yeah.
Everything it was your idea to take that picture, wasn't it? But like De Niro doesn't get credit for that movie. What a weird fucking role for him. And it was just one of those movies where for a director who has such a distinct style, that came through perfectly. All the music, all the shit. It just made he had fucking Pam Grier walking and doing like these beautiful shots of her, just like giving her flowers on film because he loved her so much. And it was just, it made me love movies. Honestly, it's wild, dude. I love movies before that, but that one specifically, I was like, I got to do this. I have to do this shit.
And the guy who played the judge, man, he's from those horror movies. Sid
Haig,
Haig,
dude, fucking the
R.I.P.
He used to act with Pam Grier all the time.
Yeah, man.
He was in a wild movie with Pam Grier where she was in jail and he was like a guard and he basically is like fondling her titties through the bar and shit. I mean, this is an old school movie, but I don't know where I saw it, but I was like, I need to catch up on these old school Pam Grier movies because dude, those are the ones. I mean, shit, dude. Fucking. But it was always like women in cages and shit like that. It's like I don't feel great about watching this, but I have to. I got to see where this goes.
Pam Grier's titties make you feel all right, man. Things look like Hershey Kisses. Mwah, mwah. Man, Lord took his time with that one.
Didn't I blow your mind this time? Didn't I? Oh, those titties.
You couldn't just choke the bitch? What did he say? You couldn't just slap her?
You shot her? Is she dead? She might be dead. I think she's dead. Did you? You couldn't just hit her? Man, what happened to you, man? Your ass used to be beautiful.
Hey, man. You better chill out. Hey, man.
That's a wild, dude. That whole sequence. I mean, again, everyone go watch this movie. If you have not seen Jackie Brown, if you like good movies, it's a heist movie. It's a comedy. It's a fucking it's just everything all wrapped up into a beautiful package. Watch it immediately.
Taco, 79 for a taco supreme, 79. Eat what I like, pay what I should. Cross the border, change is good.
Well, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about things that happened in the 90s. So get out your Polo cologne and your For Us By Us jerseys because we're smoking.
Oh shit! Somebody stop me!
Yeah, man. July 29th, some gangster shit went down in the 90s. We're gonna be talking about Real World again. Justice for David. We're gonna be talking about Beverly Hills 90210 for the first time. So high. And we're gonna be talking about the GOAT of physical comedy. Jim Carrey, The Mask.
What the fuck was that, Steve?
Jim. Jim Carrey. He is the GOAT. 94, man. Do you know he was crushing it in 94? He just finished In Living Color, the last season. And then he goes to Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Then he goes to The Mask. And then he does Dumb and Dumber. That's 3 pop cultural iconic movies in the same year.
I mean, can you imagine how fucking hard his agent was that year? Like we're never gonna have to work again, Jim. Like, I didn't really realize I guess it makes sense because when I think about when I watched them in my life, it was all around that time, but it's wild. It was all in a fucking year.
All in a year, dude.
Wasn't he one of the first people to get paid like 20 mil a movie? Or wasn't that one of the things? Something like that?
I wouldn't be surprised, man. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. And dude, did he ever sleep in 94? Jesus, man, because I mean, doing In Living Color, you know how that television schedule is, man. And, I'm sure he had to have been doing or rehearsing or recording for one of those movies, man. Probably all 3 at some point at the same time.
Well, every one of those is one of my favorite comedies. Dumb and Dumber to a lesser extent. That's not up there for me. It's still great, but dude, when Mask came out, I almost busted my little pants. Jim Carrey at this time, when he came out, Chris Farley was dead. Was he?
No, not yet. He died in 97.
But so there's even crazier because Chris Farley was my guy. And he supplanted Chris Farley as like my favorite actor because he would go out there, Ace Ventura, all these things, and then he would be goofy on like late night. He was just never not funny, you know. Yeah. So as far as The Mask goes, filled with fucking bangers. It's got fucking what's that cute little
Veronica Vaughn?
Yeah. Is that Veronica Vaughn?
That's Veronica. It's not Veronica Vaughn.
No,
it's the hot mom from Problem Child, and she was in something else that we covered.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that chick. But I'm talking about the main one. It's fucking what's her face. God damn it, Steve. We're not. See, this is the thing. Cameron Diaz. That was like her first thing, and dude, she was fucking hot as shit. That's probably the hottest she was. She was hot. Jesus. It's got Richard Jeni in it. Rest in peace. A great stand-up legend. Tragic, but he was in this. That guy who was fucking Zed in Pulp Fiction's in this as the villain. You know what I'm talking about. The fucking blonde guy who fucks Bing Rames in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
Which is wild. Yeah. He plays that and then he's this villain. That's a weird, like, dynamic of her career. But and this movie was probably the most comic book movie ever made at this time. Because, I mean, it was straight up like a Looney Tunes episode, and I think this was a comic book, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
It was. It's based off a comic book. And you know what? The hot mom from Problem Child, Amy Yazbek, she was in the movie, but she wasn't the love interest. That was Cameron Diaz. I got them mixed up.
See, here's the thing, Steve. She was, but she was like the woman who he doesn't pay attention to because he's in love with the hottie. And then Cameron
Diaz.
Yeah, or maybe she's a friend. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's still bomb. It's wild. He like goes around as the Mask and commits a bunch of crimes and shit at the beginning. It's hilarious. He shoves a tailpipe up some like mechanic's ass at the beginning, I remember. And I mean, this was a movie that even my family enjoyed. Like Ace Ventura, my mom's like, this is disgusting. But this movie, we could all watch this.
Can we save some for later? Because in 1991, on July 29th, the Yankee Stadium fans are throwing cups and blow-up dolls at Jose Canseco. And I don't know if he's a prick or maybe it's because he's a handsome turd.
I mean, I got the footage of this. I looked it up right before we started recording, and it's wild. And the TV guys are laughing their asses off because they send like a ball boy out to get all this shit, and he's like having to run around the field with like a fucking blow-up doll, laughing his ass off and shit.
Wow.
But it was wild because a lot of shit was happening in the game that I was like, did this like sort of happen as a result of this? Because I guess like at one point, Jose Canseco hit a ball on the line that was in play, but the Yankees ball boy like grabbed it and just like took it. So he got like a double. I think it's like you get a double if that happens. So like
pound double
happened, and the crowd was just like furious and shit. But dude, I mean, he was one of the Bash brothers. Like I used to love fucking Jose Canseco, Steve.
I used to. I thought they were cool. I thought the Oakland A's had a really cool like color scheme, the green and yellow. Ricky Henderson was on that team, and they were the World Series champions in '89. Man, they were supposed to be going into the decade, they were kind of looked at as the team to beat of the decade. But as we know, they only got one World Series out of that tandem, and they slowly fizzled out. And
they also had Dennis Eckersley on that team, and he had a rockin' mustache. Also, personal note, Steve, I played on the Oakland A's of the Perrysburg Municipal Little League team in Perrysburg, and I was the first baseman. I killed it, so I was also in Oakland. I was also a Perrysburg A, I guess. So
Matt McGuire.
I mean, I wish if somebody could have just hooked me up with some donkey roids or something, I would have just been knocking dingers out of the park, Steve.
Man, how did the Perrysburg Athletics do?
I remember us we weren't bad, but we weren't like the best.
Yeah.
I remember that team because there's a Sean that we went to school with that neither of us are really a fan of, and he was on my squad, and I remember that being a big thing. But I was actually a good fat baseball player, I gotta say. For a fat kid, great first baseman, and for a while I was really good at batting, but once we got to like the level where I was on that team, remember Chris Kernahan?
Oh yeah, I remember Chris, man. He was always at the athletic one.
That motherfucker was an athlete his whole life. And when we were in like whatever grade it was, it had to be like 8th grade, maybe, was when that was why I was in that league. I mean, he was like a full grown man and he was throwing like 80-mile-per-hour fastballs. And I was like, I can't. One of my friends on that team got hit with one. And I remember the bruise that left. I was like, I can't, I'm not taking that. Fuck all that.
Yeah, dude. Like we used to play football with that motherfucker in 8th grade, like during scrambles and shit, man. He like nobody wanted any pizza. No parts.
He was a fucking. I mean, it wasn't. It was just not his fault. He was just like a guy who maybe his parents made him lift weights, but he was. I just remember him being like a brick shithouse type dude.
He always was, man. He was quick.
We had guys in our grade that like looked like they're. Remember Matt Bishop?
Yeah.
He looked like me now when we were in 5th grade. He had a mustache when we were in 5th grade. So it was just like bizarre to be in school with like being a kid basically. And you're looking over and it's like those two. I never played football, but it was like, thank God, because I would be terrified going up against people like that. I should have, but
dude, they used to pair me with Matt Bishop. We were like regulars, like because they had me slated as the offensive guard, and he was the defensive tackle. Yeah, exactly. This was in 8th grade.
You were a guard, Steve?
Dude, and I was a basketball player, so like most basketball players were like wanted to be or wide receivers or tight ends, and that's what I wanted to be. But those slots were sold up. So like the coach was like, we'll put you at guard. I'm like, I don't know shit about being a guard. Point guard, maybe, but yeah, dude, they would pair me with Matt Bishop, man, and that shit wasn't easy.
That motherfucker, I mean, dude, that guy was nerdy. He liked nerdy shit, but he was on swim team, so he was in like hella shape, and he couldn't play he's one of those athletic people when they play basketball, it's like tragic to look at. But dude, he could play baseball. Like I remember being on a baseball team with that dude, and he could throw like a fucking ball from center field, like deep center field, because we didn't have a fence. You could just keep going back, and he must have thrown a fucking ball from center field to the catcher. It was like one of those like major league throws. It's like how the fuck, but it's just like some 13-year-old that has that testosterone level of like a 25-year-old or some shit.
Somebody should have checked his birth certificate.
I mean, I went first day of school, Steve. When I moved to Ohio, Matt Bishop was in my class. I went from a small class of like 15 kids I knew in Pennsylvania, all of us little like Mayberry fucking, let's fucking do it. And then I go to Ohio and everyone's like, fuck this and fuck that. And I walk into class and Matt Bishop's there with a fucking this. I was like, is that the teacher? And then he sits down like close to me. I'm like, what is this? What is the fuck is going on? This isn't where am I? Is this a community college?
Fuck? Can you give me a ride to school tomorrow? Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
In July 29th, 1992, Beverly Hills 90210 is airing the episode Too Little Too Late, Paris. Brandon becomes jealous of Andrea's new boyfriend, Jay, who invites her to Houston with him for a Republican convention, while she tries to get Cameron to join on her daycare group outings. Dylan's father, Jack, asked to put in a good word for him at his parole hearing, and Kelly keeps Dylan some company while mending her broken heart over leaving Jake Hanson. See Melrose Place, it says. We won't. Meanwhile, Brenda and Donna arrive in Paris, and they get a less than dazzling welcome to the City of Light after meeting brash students, as well as eating at a local restaurant.
Steve, I wrote, this is my initial 2 notes. This is the first episode of this show I've ever actually fully watched. I've seen clips. It would come on and I'd see a little bit of it and I'd immediately turn to something else.
Yeah.
So I guess like we need to celebrate like that we're actually. I watched a full episode of this show, Steve. I was horrified to notice that when I started it, it was 42 minutes long, and it just was really heartbreaking in that regard. And then the one positive I have to say about this whole debacle, the song shreds. I mean, it's a fucking banger. So the least
I like it.
The porn star song creator who made that killed it. Salute to that guy. Yeah, exactly. Just some guy shredding in a fucking garage someplace, you know, looking at this guy. Picture of that dude.
Yeah. He's the Slash off Wish.
Exactly. Yeah. He had like some of that, but it was like he was like going bald and shit. It was like waning, you know. But this show, you know, we are gonna get into it. We can go through the story. I don't ever want to see another fucking episode of this show, Steve. This show is so bad. I just like don't even want to watch it to make fun of it. How about that?
Oh yeah, you heard it here, folks. If you're Beverly Hills 90210 fans, this is your only shot.
You got bad taste. That's the first thing I got to say. But hey, you know, I like blue cheese, and some people don't like that. So I get it. You know, different strokes for different folks. But these people are supposed to be teens, and you're trying to tell me Ian Ziering's a teen?
Man, he's like the Beverly Hills Slater, because he's got the same kind of cut. He has the identical haircut, but it's blonde. Yeah,
and it's thin, and it's gross. And every time he showed up on screen, which is only to show up with no shirt on, for whatever reason, I get where, and just so, you know, maybe not everyone here knows what LA's like. Beverly Hills is nowhere near a fucking beach. So you can't just go to a Beverly Hills beach. So there's no reason I need to see this guy with his shirt off at the beach all the time. Because it's disgusting. Me and my wife both were like, ugh, every time he showed up, because he's just, they just have to, like, the obligatory 3 shots of him, like, hey, what's up? And it's just him glistening in the sun. It's disgusting.
So his name is Steve.
Oh, that had to be Steve. I didn't even catch that. I just kept calling him, ugh.
So Ian Ziering doesn't do it for Kendra?
No, not at all. I mean, she said, ooh. We both, like, I could have said jinx afterwards because we said it at the exact same time. It's disgusting.
So that tells me something, man. You know, I feel like the producers were really trying to put sex appeal onto Ian Ziering, because growing up, from what I remember, all the girls liked Brendan and Dylan, like Luke Perry and the other guy. I can't remember his name.
Maybe Brian Austin Green too.
And Brian Austin Green. He was like probably him more so, because I remember seeing him on a lot of those magazine covers and shit.
Well, he never seemed to be like me, like the people we grew up with. He looked like a regular guy. All these other people look like beautiful fucking like model men. There's like, that's not a real high school kid. Whereas Bag, I guess we can call him, Brian, he just looks like some kid from Perrysburg, you know, that's smashing some Beverly Hills tail.
Is smoking Newports in the restroom. We start off with the gang at the beach. And, you know, as kids and teenagers in Perrysburg, Ohio, wouldn't it have been nice to have a hangout at the beach? Our hangout was Frisch's Big Boy. And we liked it and we loved it. And actually, you know what? Fuck it. Frisch's Big Boy and the beach. You know, Frisch's, yeah, man, they had milkshakes. So yeah, it still would have been nice to have that.
Smoke cigarettes, even if we weren't of age to buy the cigarettes, Steve. It was Frisch's Big Boy, Frickers, and Ralphie's. You could go to any of those places and you could have yourself a hell of a time. Maybe it wasn't the beach, but if I go to the beach and I see Ian Ziering without a shirt, I don't want to be there anyway. So I'd rather be at Ralphie's, because at least he has to have a fucking shirt on, his gross hot dog skin.
Yeah, and if he showed up without a shirt, it would have been kind of normal at the same time. It's Frisch's Big Boy. Yeah, and it was the 90s.
What happens? It's like Waffle House. You might walk in there and people are eating dinner, or you might walk in there and somebody comes in stabbed and just sits down and starts bleeding everywhere. It's okay.
Yeah, I've seen it. And now there's a kid at the beach by himself, and it looks like he's casing the joint. This appears to be making of a murderer, and he's looking at random kids playing in the beach, and he's staring laser beams through each of their skulls. Hey, kid, where are you from? Who brought you here? The Dark Lords of the Underground, who roam the earth and search for children with empty souls. Carl's bad. We find out that he's deaf.
Yeah, I thought he was he had been like a demon with a child molester's soul had put into his body, because he definitely looks like a child molester as a child.
In the making, yeah.
It's weird, and there's no context. It's just this kid staring off into these. Yeah, it's very bizarre. So I had the same thing. I was like, what the I just said, what the fuck? And then turns out kid's deaf. So, he's deaf, and I get it. We made fun of a deaf kid, I guess, but he's sitting there and he's watching all these kids playing at this beach club or daycare that some of the 90210 people are working at. It very much looks like Malibu Sands Beach Club. So maybe Zach and Kelly were off someplace else with the owner, and they were handling the daycare or some shit, because they've got the same uniform on, Steve.
Mr. Carosi. Was that the name of the place they worked at? Malibu Sands?
I'm telling you, I think they both, this is like a mixing of universes here, but they're there. Okay. I'm getting I suck with names, but Brendan, Luke Perry.
No, that's Dylan.
This is Dylan. Okay.
Yeah.
Brendan, Luke Perry, not this guy. Sorry, Dylan. Is working with Andrea, who I was like, who is this plain Jane vanilla Phila chick? And she's part of the crew. She's the smart one.
She looks like she'd never belonged. Everybody's cute and
she looks like somebody's Aunt Linda. Wandered on. I was like, is this bitch fucking one of the moms? What is this? Is he trying to get some older tail, some MILF tail? No, it turns out she's part of the squad.
There's no way you're a fucking teenager.
Yeah, and we'll get into that later, because then we see her whatever. So they're hanging out. I'm thinking Brandon's not gonna fucking be, but it turns out this heartthrob hunk of a dude has a crush on this chick. All these Beverly Hills chicks, they're not good enough. This Andrea chick, she's a nice one. She's a nice woman. She's a nice woman. She's got a lot going for her, and he's got a crush on her, but he can't. It's from afar, which we've both been on Crushgasm. We've both had those issues, and I feel for him in that regard. But he's a handsome guy.
Jason Priestley.
There you go.
Yeah, he is.
He's a handsome guy.
It's I'll give him his props. Got to, but he sees something in this Andrea. And maybe it's jealousy. I don't know, because it's kind of like the one you let get away, and you see her with another person, and it's just oh, you know what? She's kind of hot now. Now that somebody else sees the value in her, that's,
oh,
that's
somebody else
relatable.
wants that? No, that's mine. I've done that. I've been there.
We've all been guilty of it at some point, man. And we also find out that Cool Hand Luke Perry, his character Dylan's dad, is getting released from prison. But his lawyer said it'd help if he'd clean up his image. And he needs his son Dylan to write one of those, "My dad's one of those good guys" letters to the big mean judge and juries.
And Dylan clearly, like we said, we haven't really watched this, but he's got some daddy issues. He doesn't seem to, he's there to visit his dad, but he obviously doesn't think a lot of his dad. I don't know what his dad did. I think it was some sort of financial shit. He ripped off some people, it's indicated, I believe. Some
investment fraud or some shit. Some Bernie Madoff type shit.
Exactly. Some white collar shit. So his dad's in there. He's in the slammer. Dylan's not happy with him. He's never there. He was never there. At least that's what's indicated. And his dad's asking him for this letter, and Dylan's like, "Man, fuck you. You're I came here to visit you. I thought you wanted to see me.
Yeah.
You just want a fucking letter to get out of jail. So, I'll write it, but fuck you." It was very much what I got out of that scene.
Yeah, that's totally what it was, man. And then we cut to Brenda and Donna, who were in Paris. And even on vacation, Tori Spelling's character Donna is teen angsty and neurotic. And she's, please don't lecture me, Brenda. I'm tired, my stomach is a wreck, and I have a sore throat from everyone smoking on the airplane. If I have to smell another cigarette, I am absolutely going to hurl. And then cue the taxi driver lighting up a cigarette. I admire your pettiness, taxi driver. Merci beaucoup, because fuck Donna's lungs. And I remember the spoof that they would do on SNL where the one actress that I didn't like from that cast, that was her saving grace. She could play Tori Spelling because just like, oh my god, like yeah. I
just like, as soon as we got to this, because basically what's happening is Shannon Doherty and Tori Spelling are going, this is like a school thing, I guess. It's like immersion education where you go to France and you learn the language and shit. So they're there. Tori Spelling's being a fucking bitch and making Shannon Doherty like carry her luggage. They get kicked out of this taxi, which again, salute to that driver. I wish he would have fucking put the cigarette out on her too, because I would have done that, or at least flicked it at her. And
my taxi.
Yeah, exactly. And they get to like what I think is like Hostel, the movie Hostel. It's just like some rickety ass house with some like madam and a bunch of random white bitches. It's like an Epstein shit. Yeah, look at it. Oh God, it's fucking disgusting. And I miss David. And I fucking hate this place. I want to go home. It's like, bitch, we went to France. You can't just go home. Shut the fuck up.
The Madam of Monticello over here, the French Mrs. Garrett. Oh, girls!
Yeah, she looks exactly like that bitch. Yeah, but it's very much like she's like, ooh, ladies, go up to your room, get bathed and get clean. And it's like, what is this shit? Is Epstein about to come out of a wall someplace and like knock these bitches unconscious?
Right. And then, but in comes Maggie, Lynette, and Antoinette. Now, you know, Anne has glasses. And you know what else she has, Matthew?
Hey, Steve.
Well, I don't know about the ass. She's a tall glass of orange juice. But she also got one of them Southern accents.
Yeah. I mean, dude, if I like, again, if this was a hostel, let's say you and I do this and we show up to this place and this is a hostel situation. When those other two like dirty chicks show up, I would have been like, thank you, God. I was like, is this about to be like this like experimentation episode? Because I can get down with that.
Like, let's say we were in a bosom buddy situation and we could pull it off. And those three came into the room. It's like, oh yeah, where are you ladies sleeping? You know, and Maggie smokes with cigarettes.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, and like the glasses, when you like, it was that hot. It was like a Jenny McCarthy look, like that nerdy, like hot. It was that level of shit. So, you know, the French people, the men of this city, wherever they're at, Paris, I guess, when they go out clubbing and shit, I mean, it must have been like a wolf, like prowling the grass when they just fucking pounce out of nowhere, because Shannon Doherty and Tori Spelling are the busted bitches of this house at this point. Even the madam, I'd probably want to throw her around before them just because she seems more interesting.
She's French and they some freaks.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So I was almost like intrigued here because I was like, is this about to turn into a fucking porno? Because I can definitely get into this.
Yeah, I can smoke back of that.
This is like one of those movies. We used to have a channel in Ohio called Flicks that was show movies uncensored. So every once in a while you'd see a movie with tits, but when you're a kid, you'll stick around way too long because it seems like maybe there will be some tits. And this show is like one of those shitty movies where tits never come out. It's like, oh damn, what? Are we about to see something? It just never happens, Steve. It never gets interesting.
Blue Balls 90210.
Oh, that's perfect, Steve. I'm making a graphic of that. I have to. That's a fucking winner right there.
And we cut to Andrea, who's on a date with her conservative Republican boyfriend, son of Shooter McGavin, and we find out that he has tickets to Houston. Woohoo! And so they do a warm embrace, and You're the best boyfriend ever. You're taking this Californian liberal girl to the hotbed of Christian conservative hotbed of South Texas. Ugh. And Brendan sees this shit and catches the feels. And he's just staring at Andrea, making out as if he's got some kind of voyeuristic streak.
Well, and also, like, you're telling me these kids are in high school, right? So,
Yeah.
like, already Andrea, like, the optics of her, she looks like a divorced mom. And then talking to this guy from that show. Remember that he's in mad shit. He was in like some movie or show about like sports talk TV. Remember that one? It was like a drama that was on NBC or something about people that worked for ESPN. He was one of the guys. I don't remember what that show was called.
Was it on ABC? Did it have Robert Guillaume in it, the guy from Benson? And
yeah, I think so. I think we're talking about, but again, these people are supposed to be in high school. And they're like, I'm a conservative and you're a liberal. We're going to go to a conservative fucking convention. It's like, you're in high school? What the fuck? Shut the fuck. Like, this is ridiculous. And also, just like, at this point is when I switched off of the show. I mean, I kept taking notes, but I was like, I will not like this show. This is dumb as fuck. And like, this is not a real, like, when we were in high school, if I was with a chick and we were talking and it was like a romantic thing, in no way would we ever be talking politics, period. It would be like, did you watch Tommy? But like shit like that. Why are they talking about conservative politics? Like, what the fuck? I don't care for these characters, Steve.
Maybe those are Beverly Hills Blue Balls 90210 issues. Maybe they did that kind of stuff in the 90s. But I know in Perrysburg, when I was in high school, I wasn't that mature to be talking to someone I'm having a situation with about politics. I wasn't well versed on politics.
We don't need to go into that. And anyway, so they're doing it. They're like, this is their pillow talk. They're not talking about movies or like making out. They're talking about being going to a conservative political convention in Houston, and he wants to take her with her. This is going to be a big opportunity for this little liberal chick out of Beverly Hills. You're going to get to go to Texas and see all these fucking people that would eventually, storm the Capitol building.
Yeah. A young Joel Osteen will be there.
On Beverly Hills 90210, I guess. So that's a thing. And Brandon's fucking just beside himself. He wants to bang this mom again, but he can't because fucking Dan Quayle's son's got to take her over to Texas and fucking brainwash her. So I don't know.
Like he even interjects himself into the children's playing because just so he can prove a point, as well as throw water balloons at the single mom.
I mean, so I don't know. To me, if I'm Brandon, I'm moving on. You live in Beverly Hills, go out. You fucking get that hair coiffed back and fucking get in that Mercedes that you're. Another thing I took a note on, when they show the parents of these sexy kids, the parents are just fucking blah. I think Doogie Howser's dad's one of their dads. It's like, well, how did that guy make this?
Dude, I was just going to say Brenda and Brendan's dad is the little brother of Doogie's dad and Coach K. All three of y'all.
What happened?
It's the protruding nose.
When you had these kids, because goddamn, the shit went downhill.
It's the protruding nose and the lima bean head with the receding hairline. I think they all have that in common.
Oh, I mean, eventually, Steve, that's what I'm going to look like. So just get ready for it.
You don't have the protruding nose.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I won't be that fugly, but I'll still be fugly. It's just a matter of.
Hey, we're both handsome in a goofy looking way. Yeah, but, Brendan kisses Andrea and he says he'll miss her. And Andrea didn't take too kindly to that. She asked him why he thinks he's so irresistible. Bitch, because I'm Brendan Walsh. I'm on magazine covers. I play rock and jock basketball with Dan Cortez and Carlton. And I'm in Buffy. Not the show, but the movie, bitch.
Up, by the way, can bring back rock and jock, please. Yeah. Do something right. But anyway, yeah. Brandon Walsh, like that just sounds like something fucking, like that just sounds sexy to me. So yeah. You want to know why? Look at your fucking Dan Quayle looking dude. You know why I think I'm so sexy, but but then again, Steve, she held on to that kiss a little long though. So I don't know.
Maybe, and I don't think we'll ever know because I don't know if I'm trying to watch another one of these fucking things either. Straight up. It only takes so much.
But like again, I wish you could see in my thing. There's a part where it just says why, and that's like, why is this guy into this chick? I do not get it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And then, you know, to me that just indicates that he's like a scoop of vanilla guy when he goes to the, you know, the ice cream parlor. He just is boring. That must be what Brendan Walsh really is. He's just a boring ass fucking dude. So I guess that's
my favorite color is gray. I watch CBS programming. I really love Hugh Grant movies.
I love Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock. Talent.
Yeah. And again, after this, Ian Ziering shows up half naked again. Ooh, disgusting.
AC later. DC Slater.
You are killing the puns today, bro.
AC/DC Slater.
Dude, that maybe it's the weed, but man, I feel like the wordplay, you got it on point right now, Steve. You're in the tens.
Alternating current Slater, fucking
fucking tan.
Shit, dude. And he had to not have a shirt. Like, I'm telling you, man, the producer's like, see, Dylan's getting all this attention. Brendan's getting all this attention. Even the younger Brian Austin Green. Hey, just take your shirt off.
Ian, do a couple of push-ups and pop that shirt off. Hey, makeup lady, really moisten up his gross blonde chest hair so we can see it on camera so we can really make people want to vomit. Thank you.
Put some activator in his curly blonde mullet.
I mean, that's what, dude, he looks like if you took Donnell Rawlings' wig from that like haters sketch in Chappelle show, colored it blonde and put it on a white dude. That's what it looks like. It makes no sense.
What was his name? Beautiful or some shit?
Beautiful. I forgot to fill your mama's dish. Like, what can I just, dude, I love that sketch. But yeah, I mean, Ian Ziering, I don't know what he looks like now. He probably looks exactly like he does in this, because he looks like a 50-year-old gross bowling superstar. He looks like he bowls professionally.
I feel like he's patterned his career after Mario Lopez, but has just done whatever Mario Lopez has done on a smaller scale. Like, isn't Mario Lopez the like host of Entertainment Tonight or some shit? So like Ian Ziering's the host of like fucking Carlsbad Tonight.
Yeah, there you go. He hosts like Palm Springs this morning, like one of those stupid fucking morning shows.
Encino this afternoon.
Yeah. I mean, so, you know, I guess maybe I should be careful because I do live in LA County and I might run into Ian Ziering. So, Ian, if you're watching, like, I mean, see me, I guess, because I'm not afraid of your fucking hot dog looking ass.
Yeah, he'll pull up on you at Whole Foods. So you were talking shit?
Yeah. Hold up.
Just let
what is
yourself.
It's like a white pimp, though, dude. It's like, that's his vibe. He just walks up like, shut up, bitch. Hold up. Like, you know, that would be dope. I'd actually support him then. But, you know, hey, Ian, what's up? The fuck's up, bro?
Just let it shine through. I can't even believe I went that high of an octave. Let yourself. I did it.
Dude, we're going to record that. That's going to be a drop.
And then going back to Donna and Brenda in Paris, and Donna's just swooning over David and just swooning in life in general. Just, oh my God, we're in Paris now. What do I do? Like, David's not here. Ooh, David will wear that shirt. Oh my God, he has that same haircut.
Yeah, she's even seeing this motherfucker.
Yeah. And she's even bugging Brenda out. Like, Brenda thought she saw Dylan.
Yeah. And she almost got fucking up in some like weird French guy's grill doing that. It's like, what is going on? Did you guys get drugged? Because you guys are hallucinating now. Is this some?
No, I just have a crazy ass, baddie ass friend.
Dude,
that's driving me crazy.
I'd be like, at this point of like the trip, because this whole thing where they're in France is just them going to a place, Tori Spelling bitching, and Shannon Doherty being like, okay, go back to the fucking room, leave. Like, I don't give a fuck anymore. And it just keeps going. So when they get to the point where they're like at the clubs and shit, I'd be like, get the fuck away from me. I'm going to hang out with the Marlboro bitches over here. Because I want to have some fun. I want to get into some fucking French shenanigans. And it looks like Frenchmen are just, they're out there just like licking their fucking fingers and shit. It's real fucking rapey over there.
They're out there looking for thirds. Hey, Google, did Tori Spelling's character on 90210 ever get fucked? No. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, is that David? Bitch, you in France. That motherfucking Beverly Hills. Fucking goofball.
And they're very much being like shitty Americans. They're going to like fancy French restaurants. Like, I don't want this. I don't speak your language, sir. I don't thinking. Here, let me write it down for you. So I would have been spitting in this fucking bitch's food and shit. Like, fuck you, bitch.
I don't eat fish, despite looking like one. Huh? Like, I always thought she looked like a Seth MacFarlane drawing. Bug eyes and shit. I mean,
the chick that you said about from SNL, like her caricature of her was basically the same thing. It wasn't any
dead on. And that's why it's her saving grace, because outside of that, I always thought she was annoying. Melanie Hutzel, I think her name was. And this is my favorite cast of SNL. This is like the creme de la creme. I'm talking like early, like 90, 91, 92, when you got Phil Hartman, Chris Farley, Chris Rock, Adam Sandler, David Spade, Rob Schneider, Ellen Cleghorn, Tim Meadows, man. But
she was definitely like the low man on the totem pole in terms of that cat. But how? I mean, what do you expect? Those are all bangers. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
But this one, when I remember, because it wasn't even just Tori Spelling. She was the ditzy chick. She would do a Tori Spelling, but then there would just be other like rando white chicks where she's like, I remember the one where Chris Farley played like a Gap girl.
That was a recurring skit where it was him, Adam Sandler, David Spade, and Rob Schneider. Yeah,
but there was like somebody like a rival team of chicks, and like
it was like a rival.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then there was also like they planned on making this sorority skit like a recurring thing, and she was a part of that. It was her and like two other girls. I think it was the girl who plays I'm Pat and another. Yeah. But
what a weird character that was. I mean, sidetrack the fuck Sally, but I mean, Pat, they even made a movie out of that.
Yeah, I can't believe it. That's how much money they were making in the 90s. And we found out that Andrea is actually, before we get to that, Dylan's dad is actually going to stay in jail because the evidence was just too heavy. And hey, he did what he could, you know.
Them affidavits just kept coming in, Dylan said. And after a certain point, it was like, oh, my dad's going to jail forever. So,
yeah. And we find out that Andrea is actually staying and not going to the Republican convention in Texas, which sounds more like punishment than actual fucking vacation. And it's also because Cameron needs her. And Brendan needs to dick her down a few times over the summer.
It seems like there's going to be a lot of sex like directly after this episode. So maybe we should have watched next week, but you know, as far as I'm concerned, like the whole Dylan Kelly thing that you're showing behind you here, you know, there's all these adult looking teens, and apparently some retired strippers going to high school in Beverly Hills too. Kelly's out there. And Steve, we had a debate about this. Is she beautiful? Yes. Okay. Yeah, she's hot, man. But she's not a fucking teen. And she's just always in this episode dressed like either a topless maid who's just about to get topless or a stripper who's just in the back. You know.
Get it, Jenny Garf.
I mean, damn, Jenny, though. I mean, straight up. She kept it right and tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like that rib tattoo, though. I don't like to see that. But I mean, look, she's bodied the fuck up. I gotta give it to her because she's like white cracks like porcelain on concrete, and she could have gone the potato route, if you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know.
Coming looking at like a baked potato, but I mean, hey, I'm willing to give flowers, Steve. I talk shit, but you sold me. I can't argue. She maintained.
She's a cutie pie, man. And to me, she's the cutest on the show. I know a lot of people like Shannon Doherty. A lot of people like nobody ever picked Tori Spelling, but it's really down between Shannon Doherty and Jenny Garth. And Jenny Garth, she gets the edge. But Tiffany Amber Thiessen will later come to that show, and you know how I feel about some Kelly Kapowskis.
Kelly. God. That's another one. She's just maintained throughout the years. So she just kept it tight. I love seeing that. Where like, you know, I used to be fat as an adult. I'm learning how to be healthy as an adult and work out. And somebody that's like had to do that their whole life, usually it's like an NFL player. Once they don't have to do it, you see them like 10 years later. Good. It's like, you motherfucking, you must have ate all the buffet.
Yeah.
No, so happy.
Refrigerator Perry, yeah, it is literally a refrigerator now.
He's got to be dead. He's dead, right? He was living in like a junkyard at one point. That sucks. But again, like, look at your favorite athlete. Oh, here's a great one. Eric Snow. Look up what that motherfucker looks like now.
Who used to play for the Cavs?
Yeah, bro. Look up Eric Snow. Looking like a tin bit.
Well, he looked like that towards the end of his career.
Not like this, bro.
Refrigerator Perry's still alive.
Fridge, dude. He outlived fucking Walter Payton and shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right.
I mean, he outlived fucking contemporary athletes that we grew up with. We didn't grow up with the fucking Fridge.
Dude, so that's one of those reminders that's like, dude, you know what? If I'm going to get this shit, I might as well be token any fucking ways. Look at Florence Griffith Joyner, the fucking fastest woman ever on the planet. She died. Like, how the fuck? She's a fucking gold medalist. Like, how did she get sick? What the fuck? She might as well have been smoking Newports. What the fuck?
Yeah, and then there'll be some 104-year-old bitch drinking Dr. Pepper, smoking butts, and they're like, what's the key to your success? And she's like, a pack a day and a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper, and she's gonna live till she's 110. I mean, dude, that's what pisses me off about getting cancer. I was fat. I got in such good shape. Like I had a six-pack. I got in incredible shape. And like right after that, I just got blood cancer. So it's like you could do everything right. I did. I turned it around. I changed that shit around. And it was like, if you do that, you'd still like, you could jog every day and then one day drop dead of a fucking heart attack. I mean, that shit happened. It's wild.
It's fucking wild.
Party.
Man. So
that's why like weed, dude, keep toking. I'm going to have fun for and I'm on record. If I make it to like 80, I was just talking about this morning. If I make it to 80, all those drugs that I was too responsible to do when I was young, I'm doing them shits.
Man,
I'm going to be fucking H'd out, maybe go the other way, do a little bit of meth one day. Just give it a shot. Do the drug buffet. You're 80 years old. What the fuck?
Never do meth. That's never the answer at any capacity.
That one, okay, crack, meth, those, but there's got to be something to heroin, Steve. There's got to be something to it, you know?
Make a Grammy award-winning fucking album at 70.
I'm definitely gonna be fucking shrooming my ass off when I'm old. I'll tell you that. Like I can't do it now. I mean, too much shit going on. I'd worry, but when I'm old, hopefully, I'm gonna be like tuned in enough where I'm just gonna be fucking gobbling them shits. You're just gonna see me like just fucked up, like in the fucking field someplace. Like that's Matt.
You're 75. You do heroin for the first time, and you make the next Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah,
like, whoa!
This you're happened. On the front page. He fucking figured it all out. It just took one fucking needle of heroin.
You're on Rolling Stone and shit. Oh man! Now in July 29th in 1992, Ray Sharkey, the actor, is arrested for narcotic possession. And man, what a wild story he has. Are you familiar with Ray Sharkey?
I only looked this story up this morning just to become familiar because I don't remember the name. But he actually like this fucked his whole life up. He lost a job because of it. He was on a TV show. He lost that role. And
Wise Guys.
He got pegged in Canada, I believe. Like he was trying to cross some international border with some shit. So it wasn't even, he just got busted with some, they just, and what's wild is they keep saying, like in the article I read, they don't even say what drug it is. They just say narcotics. So I think he tried to like bring over some like pills or some shit, but it was a lot and he got busted and it fucked his whole life up.
Well, his life was fucked up before this because he was diagnosed with HIV in the 80s. And
okay. Well, that was not good.
Well, I discovered him back when Netflix used to have all of the SNLs, every episode. I watched every one because I had that kind of fucking time. And he was a host in the 80s during one of the like not so great seasons. He was one of the hosts. I was like, what's his relevance? So I looked him up and he received a Golden Globe for his performance in the movie The Idolmaker. And when I did my research, he was diagnosed with HIV in the 80s and he gave it to some women unknowingly, and he would eventually die of AIDS in 93. And his last role was in Cop and a Half. He played the villain. Yeah, he's that guy.
Holy
and he died
fuck!
That same year. Yeah,
because that's wild. Because that picture you have behind you is what popped up when I searched who he was, and I was like, I know that fucking guy. I just didn't have time to look up his career. But hey, Cop and a Half, he did one thing fucking right. That movie,
yeah, man.
That's a wild movie, by the way. Check out Cop. We need to watch Cop and a Half and go over all of the implications to this poor child that happened in this fucking show in the movie because they put this kid through hell. So,
with the good old Burt Reynolds, R.I.P. And yeah, man, he wanted to keep his diagnosis a secret, and the whole time he was still having sex. And they said, according to his manager, he had sex with an estimated 100 women after he was diagnosed. Now, some of the women obviously got tested positive for HIV. And, as we know, in 93, he would pass on June 11th. And even going further than that, his daughter was charged with capital murder for the death of her boyfriend's mother. And she pleaded no contest and was declared insane at the time of the crime and was committed to Patton State Hospital.
I mean, what a fucking, is this family cursed? Jesus Christ. But damn.
I mean,
this growing up, he was just straight up giving people the bug.
Before we had Charlie Sheen, we had Ray Sharkey.
Damn, dude. Fuck. That's fucking, that's an added layer of fucked upness to this. I just thought the drug thing was his thing, not this. That's fucking wild as fuck.
Yeah, he's definitely well more known for that than the drug shit.
He must have fucking like pissed a gypsy off at some carnival, like in Thinner, like that guy, he just fucks with that like gypsy guy and the guy curses him. That's probably what happened.
Well, I mean, in the 80s, he was a stud, he was on acting roles and he doesn't look like a bad guy. Like physically, he looks like he could be attractive to some of those girls in the 80s. I could see him getting tail basically. So he was swimming through tail.
He just looks like one of those guys. He's like one of the guys in like the back on a mob movie. He's just like a tough,
And that would suffice in the 80s, I guess. He's a white guy that was in movies and he doesn't have any deformities. Okay, let's have sex.
Hey, I mean, that's fucking fucked up. So Ray, I don't even know. Do you say rest in peace to this guy? I mean, it seems like kind of a fucking scumbag. So
I haven't yet. I said R.I.P. to Burt Reynolds, but I mean, Ray Sharkey, man, you did wrong. You did wrong, and so is your daughter. Now, in 1993, on July 29th, The Real World Los Angeles is airing the episode Is David Going Home? Tension in the house erupts when David tries to pull the covers off Tammy as a practical joke. Not finding the joke funny, Tammy retaliates, and she and David fight. Beth steps in and further incites the argument, ultimately accusing David of rape. This episode spells out fuck shit, super fuck shit, super fuckio brothers, fuck shit, 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 shit, fuck shit, fuck shit.
I'm interested to hear like your. I think there's a lot of fuck shit going on in this episode. One thing I want to say, and I just feel like this has to be said because there are two sides to this argument, right? And I get in terms of David, I understand where David's coming from. And I do understand where Tammy's coming from, but it's very confusing. And I think that the real fuck shit and fuck people that made this episode, which are the people that made the edits and the producers, they're the people that really we should blame for this, because they edited a show. And I mean, I watched this twice because I wanted to be sure I remembered the chain of events. And I watched it with my wife, and I was trying to like talk it out because she's, there's like, it's confusing. And I don't want to be sitting here like Tammy's a bitch. And so this, like, she's just taking it too much, because I get why she would be mad about this. And she brings up legit points. But at the same time, it's like my wife said to me when we were talking about it, the editors and the way they edited this, there's confusion when you watch it. It's very confusing because the vibes change. The reactions get more intense very quickly. So there's a lot we don't see. And they just simply made an episode that this is my wife's words, and I gladly use this. They wanted to show stereotypical angry black men and women. And that's all this episode is. It's Tammy acting like getting crazy, angry, threatening violence, and David doing his thing. And it's just like, that's what this is. The whole episode is. And it's fucked up.
It instantly went to the point of no return. There was like after the shit happened, like all civility just went out the window. There's no sit down and talk. Like, no, our mind is made. The decision has been made.
Yeah. And I mean, so, they show the recap as the show starts. And the recap is literally not even what happened previously, like in the previous episode. It's just clips of David looking crazy, like literally looking crazy over and over again. I was like, that's not like accurate. We just watched this other one. I mean, I get what, whatever. And then, obviously there's tensions in the house and everybody's discussing it. And like, it's like the guys versus girls, basically, and it's clear, like David has, like, people don't like David. But then we get to, like, fuck all that. We get to the meat of it, right? And we get to where this incident happens between Tammy and David. But like the series of events was John, the hillbilly douchebag, starts everything. He starts pulling the blanket off Tammy. And basically what was happening, these people are roommates. They're just fucking around as roommates. And the guys wanted to take the girl's room, is I think what the story was. So they went in and they're joking around, and it's like everyone's in there. And Tammy's under a blanket. And apparently Tammy, like, they keep saying she's naked, but she's not naked. She has a bra and panties on. And John starts pulling the blanket off, and she's like, stop. She's like playfully being like, stop, you guys, stop. And then David pulls on it. He gets in on the mix. And it's just like funny for a minute. And they're laughing. Everyone's in the room laughing.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps it cut. Then there's like cuts. And then all of a sudden they're out in the hallway, and David's ripping the blanket off. And it's like, even then they're laughing. Like, everybody is. Like, the guys are on one side, the girls are on the other, kind of. David's sort of playing around with Tammy in the middle. And then Beth comes out and starts like getting on, like jumping on her. And then like it just quickly escalates from there. Like, Tammy gets pissed then because she's like, you're taking my clothes off. And they go, separate and stuff. But it's just like the way it's edited, it's hard. Like, I even was confused remembering it from watching it back in the day, because I remember this was like a big thing on MTV, and it was just confusing then. And when you watch it now, it took me like twice to be like, what the fuck even happened here,
man? And like you said, man, it ends up in the hallway, and he eventually pulls the blanket off, because Beth, she's laying on top of Tammy to try to prevent the blanket from being pulled off. I mean, David pulls the blanket off anyway. Tammy, in a tizzy, runs into the bathroom and slams the door behind her, hitting Beth in the head in the process. And good, because Beth, as we're seeing in this episode, is the main instigator. She's the one that's taking it left. It goes from like
putting gas on the fire at any point she can, basically.
at any point, man, she's winding up the Tammy's back. She's putting the batteries in Tammy's back. And she is actually the first person to mention the word rape out of this whole fiasco.
And yeah, I mean, and that's when it starts, like, the vibe really changes because and again, Tammy goes into the bathroom and she gets like, it's hard to react to something in the moment. Like when something's happening, like like it's hard as a man to like put it in a way that I can understand, but like she basically, her titties came out and shit. And I get it. She was pissed about that. And you know, she came out, and you're right. Beth said like rape, which I don't know, man. It's like, I'm a white dude. I'm just like persona non grata in these types of discussions. But when I watched this, it was like, it was a playful thing that went too far. And David did not do himself any favors previous to this episode. Clearly, he'd had a lot of bad interactions, mostly with John, but with other people in the house. And he's not liked. So when this happens, then Beth starts saying rape. I mean, was it he doing something she didn't want? Yes. Was it in the context of a joke? It appeared to be, and everybody appeared to be in on the joke until it wasn't a joke anymore. And it feels like Beth made it from a joke into something super serious where it's like, as soon as you say rape, it's like, well, what do I do here, guy? Like, I was just trying to like fuck around. We were fucking around. And that's all David really keeps saying. He's not even being shitty in these moments.
Exactly. And like after he pulled the blanket off, he went about his business like, little like prank. I'm joking around. Like they try to make it seem like he was going to pull the blanket off and just fucking trample Tammy in front of all these other people in the house and these producers and people in the background, because there's several more people that we don't see. And have you seen Birth of a Nation, the original Birth of a Nation?
No.
Okay, so the president at the time thought that movie was the fucking shits. And I remember watching this in one of my film classes at Bowling Green, man, and it was a horrible fucking movie. But at the time, it was cutting edge, and it was it was like a Marvel flick of its time. They were trying to make it. But the narrative was that these savage black people are coming to our town to rape and pillage and take our women. And this is basically a continuation of that narrative. Oh, the sex crazed black man. Oh, he's like, dude, that had nothing to do with.
Seriously, like, as this is an example as a guy, like, let's say as a kid, I never wanted anybody to see me with my shirt off or in any way like exposed like that. I did not like that. So like, when we were in a locker room or something and somebody did something like took a towel off me or something, it was like, that's like the vibe I got. It was just like him sort of being kind of a bully, but it was like a playful thing. They're roommates. This is like shit that just happens in a house when you live with a bunch of people. And yes, he took it too far. There's always that moment in a joke where you can stop or you can keep going with it. And fuck, I mean, if she's saying stop doing it. And even some of these guys that are his roommates say after the fact, they're like, well, I wish I would have stepped in, but you didn't.
But you didn't, dude.
And yet, like John, I was like, if I was David, I'd be like, why is nobody saying anything? Because I didn't even start this. I was just doing what John was doing. And yeah, I took it too far, but he's like, fuck John. This motherfucker was sitting there the whole time smiling and laughing. And he even makes jokes about it when they say rape. He's like, these motherfuckers are coming out here trying to make charges and shit. So it's like, dude, why is I get David did something, but there's other people involved. It's like, why is this all on this one dude? And especially when he's being apologetic. And then the thing I didn't like about what I saw, and I didn't remember this part of it, is that Tammy comes out and she's pissed. Yeah. She starts destroying David's shit, pouring mouthwash in his shoes, just destroying his personal possessions. And then like, there's this weird like interaction where she's like holding a fucking like spray can and threatening to spray David and threatening to kick his ass. And it was like, even through all that, he wasn't being aggressive. He was like, what's going on, guys? Like, what's happening? Like, what did I do? And they're like, I'm gonna kick your ass. And it's just very confusing again.
He's still going along with the joke because even though Tammy took it way farther than what it initially was. She, like you said, put mouthwash on his bed. She put his boots in the toilet, and you can see David in the scene taking his boots out of the toilet and smiling like, "Oh, she got me."
Yeah.
He's thinking like, "Oh, it's all in good fun." Like, no, he gets his boots out of the fucking toilet and he's drying them off, doing whatever, and then lo and behold, they're having a fucking conference. And they're talking about rape, and stupid cat lady Beth is talking about he needs to be charged. He needs some kind of punishment.
Steve, this is the other thing I kept saying in my head. There is a woman who is a police officer in the Los Angeles Police Department listening to all this. At no time did she ever get up or step in. After the fact, she starts going like, well, if she said no, it should be no. But it's like, well, you were there. You heard it. Even the English rock dude guy was like, well, I didn't hear it. I was just in the room and I didn't. It's like, because it was a joke. It's like only whenever everyone started saying rape, which again, this is not apply. He was in no way being physically intimidating or like threatening any sex crime on this woman. He was just fucking around. And then the joke went too far. And yes, she was naked, I guess, kind of, but she was talking to all these people in a room in bed, just sitting there. And yeah, she had a cover on, but she was talking. It's not like he burst into the room and was like, get off here, give me the covers. They were just talking and fucking around.
But that's the narrative they wanted to create, man.
Another level of confusion. I took this note because I only noticed this after I looked up another. Like, I was trying to see if maybe now Tammy and David have like talked about this. I couldn't really find anything. But one thing that's weird, I know it's probably she was just amped up and she just misspoke, but at one point Tammy comes into the guys' room because the guys are all like, what the fuck are we supposed to do now? All the other guys are like confused as to what's going on. They're still like semi-supportive of David, but you know, it's like becoming confusing. And she comes in and she like is starting to yell at people, and she does bring up a valid point about like, well, like, I said no and you guys didn't, like, I said please stop and you guys didn't come out, so like fuck all you, which she has a valid point. If something bad was going on and that she said that, those guys were pussies, and if they should have stepped in, they didn't. But it was a joke, so I don't think that applies
because they didn't think much of it.
Yeah, but then she comes into the room and one thing she says, and there's a guy who makes a video, she literally is like screaming and she's like, it wasn't not funny. That she literally says those, and I quote, that's a quote she says. So it's just like, I feel like it just became confusing. And then as soon as she heard the word rape and sort of realized like, I didn't like that. I didn't want to like the cameras. She's on camera. So like, that's something you got to think about too. Like if this is just people in a house and he does this, it's one thing, but there's however many people on camera watching them. There's CCTV cameras everywhere. So there's other people that could conceivably see her naked. And I get as a woman or even as a dude who doesn't like my body, I don't want people looking at that shit. So I get that. I like, it's weird because I don't want to like be like, well, she is technically a victim. And I want to like be just completely disregard what she's saying. But in the context of what I saw, it looked like the house had a joke. The joke went too far. And part of that, somebody used the word rape to describe just a funny prank. And then we don't even really know what happened because it's all this editing. And that's really the thing that left the bad taste in my mouth. It's like, you just made black people look crazy in this. That's all this was.
And even Tammy admits that it started off as a playful thing. Like really, man, I feel like throughout this recording or this episode, there's a little bit of guilt on her end. And like when I'm hearing her talk, I hear it a little bit in the tone of her voice. Like she's ambivalent, whether she should go through she basically through her actions has kind of made a decision. So like when she's talking, it's kind of like she's trying to validate those decisions. And even fucking Irene, the goddamn LAPD roommate, in her confessional, fresh off the Heathers set, she's talking about it sounded like they were playing around. Then it sounded serious. Then it sounded like they were playing around. Yeah, bitch, you were just hearing shit. You didn't see the shit.
And saying what she just said, that shows you that it was there. It went from playing around to not to playing around. So clearly it was confusing no matter what. If you hear it, if you see it, they were like going back and forth because who knows? But you and I will never know because we're not going to get to watch all of that. And I feel like, you know, the thing that really sucked also when I was watching this is that after all of it happens, right? Tammy leaves. And then David leaves. And the whole time that they're cutting back and forth, they cut to David in a confessional in some like dingy bar set. It was very weird. They made him look like he went to like a closed down bar in the red light district to do this confessional. But he literally makes, he can't do it face to face because they won't let him back in the house. But he says on camera, I did not mean for that to happen. He makes the most genuine apology of all time. And that's not acknowledged at all. He says, I'm sorry. I would never mean to disrespect her. I like her. She's a very cool, you know, he says everything that he needed to say to apologize. Because really, I think that's all that needed to happen was within the house, say the apology. But people are like, he needs to get punished. He needs to be brought up on charges. It's like for ripping a blanket off. That's not what are you gonna, the judge will throw you out of court if you try to do that. So it's just like, I don't get what it sucks really when you think about it, because he did something wrong technically, but then he made a really genuine apology and that didn't mean shit.
Yeah, they slept over it, man. And like, he is at this point known for being like a cartoonish guy. He's a comical dude. And you know, he has a fiery attitude from time to time, but he's able to put all of that to a halt at this moment and just kind of like, hey, let's have a real conversation. Like, I can like, you know, swallow my pride and say, I'm sorry. Like, I really, like, no one was trying to hear that. Like, their minds were already made up. This was an agenda, man, because even with fucking punk ass Irene, boofy bang mullet fucking frizzle face, she says that if Tammy wanted to pursue something legal, I'd be a witness. Bitch, you weren't there. You didn't see it.
That's the other thing that pissed me off. But I will say this. This is the one thing where I was like, if this was an alternate universe, when I watch all this happen, how could this have changed? What could you do one thing to change this where it might have completely squashed it immediately is whenever they're arguing in the hallway, right? Tammy's like, I didn't want my like cameras to see me naked and stuff. You wouldn't want to see that. If David, instead of pulling his pants down and just waddling around naked, joking, he's a comedian. He is a stand-up comedian, guys. So like, he made a joke to try to like bring down the vibe. You know, he's like, I'll embarrass myself right now, and just like walked around like with his pants down. So
it's probably not the wisest choice.
Not the greatest choice, right? If you said the apology or a version of the apology that he did in their confessional to her face to face right there, instead of doing that, he might have squashed it. And I mean, no, but at the same time, I don't think that they would have wanted that. They got what they wanted. And when you see the edit and you see this, it's just like, my wife said, I'm a white guy, Steve, so I don't want to make all these like racial injustice points, but it's just like, I noticed it as an impartial observer just watching it. My wife, who is a mixed race, watched it, and she said exactly what I was thinking, which is like, it just looked like they wanted to make an episode called Angry Black People, the show, and they did it in this 1 week. It just was wild.
I mean, it's as clear as day. Stevie Wonder could see it, man. Like this, that's how it resonated with me as a 9-year-old. Back in the day, man. And even if Matt, he apologized right there after it happened, the lapdog Beth was already on a rampage. She was on a ramp. Like when Tammy went into the bathroom, she had already made her. She was already talking that rape, no means no shit. And Tammy's like, "Oh, you thought I was naked? No, the fuck he didn't. He knew you. He knew you had.
You were in the room together, guys. Like, if like all that, he wasn't like sitting there like, yeah, she's naked under there. Yeah, I get it. He has not done himself any favors on this show previous to this, so there was an agenda to probably get him out of the house by any means necessary anyway. And this happened. It presented an opportunity. And like you said, the fucking lapdog herself. I don't like Beth because Beth is just like what she did here, she would do in any situation because she wants the attention. You know, she jumped on her. Was it to protect her? Maybe. But then the rest of it is just her getting close to the camera, being like, I'm a fucking warrior for her. I'm going to defend you. Fuck you. Like, you're a monster. And it's like, you can even tell in David's vibe as this is all you're seeing it on camera. He goes from thinking it's a joke and, like you said, going downstairs and just like talking to the guys to being like, man, like, are they really like, and you can tell like he's worried.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, what? Like confused, worried, whatever you want to call it. And it's just like clearly MTV just, you know, they saw an opportunity here that was what they wanted. That's what they got, you know? And Tammy went on to be in other reality TV. So it's confusing to me when with her having to go through this, that she wanted to embrace that life. I guess maybe that was just the best opportunity and the most, you know, lucrative opportunity that she had, but having to go through this and then going through, she's been on like best, she's only amped it up, you know? So I don't know.
I mean, when a person who didn't witness the scene says that she's going to volunteer to be a witness, there's definitely an agenda.
Yeah,
like, I didn't see it, but I saw it
too. She should know just common sense that doesn't make any fucking sense. What are you going to witness your hearing? I've heard a lot of shit. I could, you know, it's just like that. You know, that's not right. So why'd you say that? Like, clearly, she again, like this. Maybe the producer said that. That's my thing when I watch reality TV shows, even these early ones. I wouldn't be surprised how dirty those motherfuckers are to get this shit to happen. Because when you watch it, there's other people in other rooms, right? They could have been going up to those people and been like, "Hey, like, don't go out there yet. Just stay in here." You know, like just chill. Like who knows? Clearly they edited it in a way to make this shit happen. So it's like they do that on set too. And I wouldn't be surprised if the little bit of that went into this too.
Oh, I'm sure, man. And you know what, dude? Because those motherfuckers are protected for anonymity purposes, the motherfucker who directed and produced this episode, George Verschoor, we're gonna put you out there, George Verschoor. You're a fucking asshat for sure, George Verschoor.
I like George. My dad's name is George, but he's a good one. This guy's a fucking cunt. I mean, this guy probably just like sniffs. That guy sounds like a guy who probably just like sniffs panties and shit, like one of those scumbags.
Yeah, maybe he's in jail for white collar crimes. Fucking, and I know there's other producers, but because of IMDb only showing your name, George Verschoor, you're gonna take the brunt of this shit.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you guys fucked them. This is clearly what they wanted, and Dave Chappelle made a skit of it. I'm sure other people have pointed this out, but we even said it the last time that we watched this show. It's like they brought black people on to play this part. They didn't want to just show like, I mean, that's really what they were doing with the white people too. Cowboy, fucking sexy, flexy surfer guys. So they like their idea of what black people were just angry fucking people, I guess. And that's what they wanted to show. And it's fucking stupid. This episode, I was watching it with like an open mind and being like, maybe I don't remember it right. Maybe he was a dick, or maybe they were just overblowing it. And when I watched it, it was like first so confusing that it's hard to really have an opinion, but it does seem to me an overblown situation where it was just shitty on all ends. And David took the brunt of it. And it, you know, I don't know. I would love to hear how he feels about it. I would love to hear how Tammy feels about it. Those two people. That's all I give a fuck about, because nobody else, you know, they don't have an opinion. They have an opinion based off of the opinion of the room, because that's really what happens at the end of this. You know, the girls are all like on a united front, and then all the guys slowly are like, well, maybe in hindsight, like, dude, you were sitting there like, you know what you saw. Like, nothing happened other than what you saw. So I don't know, dude. I'm a white guy, Steve. Nobody wants my opinion anymore, but this is just this show. Fuck this season. For first and foremost, I'll watch other Real Worlds because it was entertaining, but this one, it's just like a bunch of fuck ass people doing fuck shit. So
even look at how they're seated, man. There's a little bit of a separation. I don't know what transpired before they took that pick, but even then it looks like David's on a lonely island. Like, look at Irene and Beth and Tammy and John.
Yeah, it looks
and
like
Aaron.
John's trying to avoid AIDS. Like he's like doing as much as he can to lean away from David. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's just one of those. You don't know. I don't know David. I've never met the guy personally. I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
I don't like any of them. Like John, if I see that guy, fuck him. You know, I'll fucking straight up tell him. David, I don't know. I don't have an opinion. They didn't give him a chance to really do anything after this. They had a meeting without him, completely without him. They didn't even have the balls. He's just sitting there watching him on a CCTV camera. It's sad. It's just like,
man.
What the fuck is going on here? So, hey, man, I think David got a raw deal. I mean, there's going to be a lot of different opinions about it, but I don't know.
Yeah. I will say, Aaron, he was the sole one to say that he doesn't agree. I like, from what I've seen in the episodes we've covered, man, he seems like an all right dude. I don't know enough about Aaron to give a full opinion about him, but like he seems like a legit dude. At least he's sane. It seems like he's the sane one out of this collective. Him and Dominic, I guess you could say, because he just doesn't seem like that was fair to kick him out, man. And not so fun fact, Beth is from Ohio.
Oh, where though?
That broad, that lousy broad, that baddie broad, she's from Garfield Heights.
Where's that? I
think that's like suburbs of Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Hey, Beth, I'm never going to run into you, so I'll avoid that at all costs. But she's very much like, she's been on other things. They have those challenge shows, and she just is the same thing the whole time. She seems manipulative. She seems camera hungry and like attention hungry and willing to throw people under the bus. So
that volleyball has feelings. That's assault. No means no. That was too hard of a serve. Shut your ass up, Beth, and raise your cats. Now, in 1994, on July 29th, The Mask premieres with Jim Carrey's bank clerk Stanley Ipkiss is transformed into a manic superhero when he wears a mysterious mask. And man, I don't know if you've seen that meme where it asks like, oh, which mask would you pick if you could pick just one? And there's the Black Panther mask. There's the Batman mask. This is the one I'd pick, because this allows you to do pretty much anything. You could turn into a cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, you can fly. You can, become a Pepe Le Pew type. You can just like create sets, guns, all of it. So I don't know.
Shit like this.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a great movie, dude. So good. So again, he is the king of physical comedies like this, or at least was. I would love to see him do this shit again. And he kind of did with Sonic the Hedgehog. And he made that movie. And that movie's good because he's in it. So
yeah.
Oh, and that has James Marsden in it. That vanilla guy I talked about. So there you go, Steve.
He's saved by the Carrey. I mean, it's just like a winning recipe. Yeah, sprinkle some Jim Carreys in there. I mean, it's just stir. You ain't even got to stir a lot. Don't make your arm sore. It's just just a dash. You don't even need the whole. But yeah, man. In 1996, Los Angeles Dodgers manager Tommy Lasorda retires with a record of 1,599 and 1,439, 4 National League championships and 2 World Series championships. I first knew about Tommy Lasorda's from the Rolaids commercials. And,
oh yeah, yeah.
R.I.P. to him.
He was like the celebrity coach. He was just like. I mean, obviously very Italian. So, I remember the Rolaids. I think he did something else, but looking crazy in that photo. He's looking wild.
He's made appearances on various shows. He might have been on that episode of Mr. Belvedere. Wesley.
Him and Belvedere probably were partying back in the day.
Man, Tommy Lasorda and Christopher Hewitt. In 1997, Boom, 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 Thugs and Harmony released the album The Art of War. I didn't get The Art of War, It was a double album. It was 121 minutes and 14 seconds. And the drop-off singles were Look Into My Eyes and If I Could Teach the World, which were more melodic tracks. You know?
I mean, I like Look Into My Eyes, but
it's a good track. But
what's the one with fucking Crossroads? What's that?
That's East 1999.
Okay,
that's the one.
Banger, dude.
That's the one with it's the first of the month.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. That is fucking. I mean, Ohio, Cleveland, pot heavy. So I mean, they hit all the fucking. They're one of our spirit animals, Steve.
No doubt, man. And miss my Uncle Charles, dog. And on that same day, 98 Degrees releases their debut album, 98 Degrees. But in 1998, July 29th, The Negotiator premieres with Samuel L. Jackson and Kevin Spacey. I'd never seen that, but I probably won't now because of Kevin Spacey.
It's not a bad movie. I remember that movie.
Can you still appreciate it with
I don't like whatever, man. Like I'm not like he's in a few movies I like this I won't watch because it's not that good. It's just one of those movies you see once and are like, okay, you know, it's not bad, but it's not great. I would watch Usual Suspects again, but it would have an air of like weirdness when he shows up. But I mean, he plays a gimp most of the thing, and he just at the end is cool. So I mean, for most of it, he's just all gimped out and. You know, that's
Time to Kill. That's a classic.
Yeah, that's a good one too. That's like one of those. It's like you don't want to rewatch that a bunch because it's like the material's so heavy. It's just you know, it's like watching Precious or some shit. It's a good movie, I guess, but I ain't trying to watch this shit all the time to fucking. I'm gonna kill myself if I watch that shit again. But that does have one of Samuel L. Jackson's greatest lines of all time.
Oh. No doubt, man. I'm able to separate the performer from the character too, because I mean, you know, despite this shit, I mean, he's a good performer. Like that's how he got to where he got. I mean, he's a great actor. It's just unfortunate, man. The whole time we were watching his movies, man, he was touching on adolescent dinglings. And on that same day, The Negotiator premiered. The Parent Trap premiered, and you know, there was a slither in time when I actually thought Lindsay Lohan was hot. This was, I want to say, when she started doing a Mean Girl. So that was what, 2004, 2005? It's like,
definitely. That was some vintage Lohan. She got like Maxim cover model hot for like 3 or 4 years. You know, no disrespect. I mean, she made it. She was a child star. She had some problems, and I think maybe she still has some problems. Maybe not. I knew people that knew her out here when I was first moved out to LA, and they indicated she loved to party and loved to have a good time. So, you know, hey, she lived that lifestyle. But I never watched The Parent Trap in full. I know a lot of people like it. My wife loves that. You know, but I've never really moved the needle for me. The Lohan vibe, I never vibed until she became Maxim hot, and it was only because of that, and because I was such a scumbag kid that liked titties.
Man, yeah, you kept some Maxims, Jack. And I watched the original with Haley Mills. That's the one I'm more familiar with. But those were all things July 29th in the 90s. Any callbacks, honorable mentions, takeaways, Matthew?
Well, I mean, I just got to say that no disrespect to this gentleman or anybody involved, but the show, I'm never going to watch Beverly Hills 90210 again. If we do, it's going to be an emergency situation where we just have no content. But I feel like they could have done better, and I'm just surprised to remember how popular the show was and then see what the reality of the product was. I'm questioning some of my friendships back in the day. Some of these ladies I used to know that loved this show. Why? I'd love to know why. Listeners out there, if you did like this show, tell me why.
They didn't know no better.
210. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, that's all we got today.
That's all I got, Steve. I don't. It's been a rough week, and I only had time to really shit on 90210 in my notes. And I mean the Sharky thing that you just blew my mind about that. I haven't really even had time to fucking absorb that shit.
It's like Hollywood just trying to sweep them under the rug. But you know, I want to use this time to give props to Luke Perry, man. I always thought he was a cool dude. I never cared for 90210. I didn't never really watched it. But he is the guy I think that's responsible for bringing back the mutton chops. Before Luke Perry, like I think everybody was trying to be clean. Everybody looked like Jason Priestley, like nothing left below the lobes. But here comes Luke Perry, you know, what's the Johnny Bravo, fucking the 90s Arthur Fonzarelli over
It
here.
used to be the look, Steve.
Yeah, man, and he had a cool do. Those hairs never got out of tact, man. So, and he's from Ohio, from Mansfield, Ohio, man. It's unfortunate that he's no longer with us. And I remember when he passed, it caught me off guard because I always remember Luke Perry being kind of like he seemed like a healthy dude. I would never think he would be sickly or like none of this shit would happen. So RIP to that man. You were a cool guy, and I hope you're in heaven getting your dick sucked by angels. In 1995, on July 29th, the Carolina Panthers beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in their first NFL exhibition game, 20-14. Neither one of them would still to this day have won a Super Bowl. Now, what's going on in Crushgasm?
We are actually picking the episode to do for this week today. We have a bunch in the can. I'm still coming off the high of your episode. I just feel like it was a banger. So whatever we do next is just, hopefully it stacks up. So I can't tell you what it's about right now because we're about to pick that shit, but you killed it. So I want everybody who hasn't listened to it, go listen to Steve's episode of Crushgasm. And check out the new one dropping on Wednesday. It'll already be out by the time you listen to this.
Yeah, man. I'm talking about Ashley Banks, Lark Voorhees, Lisa Turtle, and my babe, Portia Williams, man. I'm talking about real women with breasts and vaginas. On Over the Culture, man, I'm going to be actually talking about Bone. Their album, East 99, the one we were just mentioning, man. It came out on that day, on July, whenever the fuck. What is... I'm getting a mind for July 25th. July 25th is when it came out in 94 or 95.
Okay.
God damn it. I don't even know my own episode. But
wake up.
Yeah, man. But that's an instrumental album, man, from our adolescence. And a lot of that was played that summer of 95. Now, this is Steve G, Mad G with Happened in the 90s. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please. Ha ha.